Hello and welcome to this lesson on the formation of crude oil. In this lesson, we'll begin by understanding how organic material gathers at the bottom of water bodies. Next, we'll outline the processes which convert this material into oil and gas. Finally, we'll explain how these substances gather in oil reservoirs. Crude oil, also known as petroleum, forms from the decomposition of organic matter over millions of years. This process is complex and involves several geological stages and chemical transformations. Let's explore these stages in detail. The first stage in the formation of crude oil begins with the accumulation of organic material. Tiny organisms such as plankton, algae, and marine animals live and die in ancient oceans and lakes. When these organisms die, their bodies settle at the bottom of these water bodies. This accumulation forms a thick layer of organic-rich sediment. Over time, layers of sediment like sand and silt build up over the organic material. This process is known as burial. As more layers accumulate, the pressure on the lower layers increases. In addition to pressure, these buried deposits are subjected to heat from the Earth's interior. This heat is primarily generated by the decay of radioactive elements like uranium, thorium, and potassium deep within the Earth, as well as leftover heat from the planet's formation. As materials are buried deeper, they move closer to the mantle, where this internal heat becomes more intense. Under the influence of this heat and pressure, the organic material undergoes significant chemical changes, which eventually converts it into oil and gas. The next step involves the migration of the oil and gas. Due to their fluid nature, oil and gas start moving through the porous rock layers. They continue to migrate upwards until they encounter non-porous, impermeable rock layers. These impermeable layers trap the oil and gas in the porous rock beneath them. This trapped accumulation forms what we call an oil reservoir or oil field. Later, these oil reservoirs can be tapped into to extract crude oil and process it into a variety of useful products such as fuels, lubricants, and petrochemicals. To truly understand the formation of crude oil, it's important to recognize that this is a process that unfolds over incredibly long periods of time, on the order of millions of years. The initial accumulation of organic material at the bottom of oceans or lakes might take tens of thousands of years, as generation after generation of marine organisms live, die, and settle on the seafloor. After this organic-rich layer forms, the process of burial and the accumulation of sediment layers above it takes even longer, sometimes spanning millions of years. Altogether, the entire process from the initial burial of organic material to the formation of an oil reservoir can take anywhere from 50 to 300 million years, depending on the specific conditions. This extremely slow process is why crude oil is considered a non-renewable resource. Once it's used up, it cannot be replenished on any human timescale. In today's lesson, we delved into the formation of crude oil through the decomposition of organic matter over millions of years. We learned that it begins with the accumulation of dead marine organisms, followed by their burial under layers of sediment. Over time, pressure and heat transform this organic matter into oil and gas. Finally, we discussed how these fluids migrate through porous rocks and become trapped under impermeable layers, forming reservoirs of crude oil that we extract and refine for various uses. Understanding these stages helps us appreciate the long natural processes involved in creating such a valuable resource. Watch the rest of the GCSE chemistry course at Sophos Education.